What is going on, guys? Justin here with yet another decent weekend of garage sailing. We definitely did not get as much stuff this weekend as we did in our last garage sale video, but it was still a pretty quality weekend. So as per usual, I will start out with what we found on Friday at the garage sales. So our main destination for Friday was a sale that was a little bit of a drive, like 10 or 15 minutes away from here. But I had been in contact with the lady having the sale prior to the weekend, and she told me that she was going to have a PlayStation and some games for sale. So obviously nothing to go too crazy about, but it was really the best lead that we had. So that was destination number one. We pulled up there, walked up, and before I even saw or asked about any of the PlayStation stuff, I saw this stack of Wii games sitting there. And they're all priced pretty dirt cheap. So I couldn't believe it. The first one on the top of the stack was a copy of Mario Party 8. As you can see there, it was only marked for $1. Couldn't believe that. Unfortunately, it is not complete. It does have a manual in here, but oddly enough, it is the manual for Super Paper Mario. Not exactly sure why. So this is actually the second copy of Mario Party 8 that I've owned now without a manual. I would love to get it complete for my collection. I do have Mario Party 9 complete as well, so I was just going to try and find a manual for it. But after looking at the disc, seeing it was a little bit scratched up, I think what I'll probably do is just flip this copy of the game and then buy myself a complete copy in nice shape, so I'll have both 8 and 9 complete. But again, for $1, no complaints. We got Rayman Raving Rabbids, also for $1 and also complete. SpongeBob's Atlantis SquarePants? SquarePanties? Kind of an odd title for a game, but that one was complete as well. And again, only $1 on that one. This last one here, which was marked at $3, I don't know why the price differential, but ended up picking it up anyway. Call of Duty Black Ops. It looks like they originally had $1 marked on it, and then someone kind of turned the 1 into a 3. I don't know. Ryan was kind of eyeing this one up, so I figured we might as well go ahead and pick it up. Kind of a more obscure title on the Wii, I believe. Obviously, everyone played Black Ops on the Xbox and PlayStation, but I can't imagine too many people played it on the Wii. At least I haven't seen this one too often. So anyway, total of $6 for those games there. So I went ahead and paid for these. And then, of course, before we left the sale, I asked about the PlayStation stuff. And she hadn't even brought it out yet or anything, but she ran into the house. She came out with a system. It had a nice carrying case, probably like 8 or 10 games in there. But the whole bundle was marked at $60. So I was like, you know what I mean? That's more than I want to pay for it. So I did pick through the games, though, to see if there's anything good in there. Honestly, there was like 1 or 2 Crash games, I think, that were in there. So I tried to see if she would split them up and sell them individually, but she said that she was looking to keep everything together as a bundle. So it wasn't too big of a deal. Like I said, even Mario Party 8 alone was worth the drive up there. So at least we weren't walking away empty-handed by any means. So left the PlayStation, but happy with the Wii games. So moving on to actually the only other games that we found on Friday, and these are definitely my favorite finds of the weekend, just solely because of the story about how I came across these. So we pulled up to a sale that had advertised video games. It just said video games, had no idea what to expect, but pulled up there, and there was only one other person at the sale at the time, and it was a shark. It's the shark that I've mentioned before in our videos, kind of like an older guy. It's the dude that sniped that DS from me a couple summers ago, like right in front of me, and ever since then I've kind of had it out for him. So I saw him up there kind of picking around, so I parked the car, made a beeline for the sale, and as I was walking up there, I saw what looked to be a small stack of Sega Genesis games sitting on one of the tables. And this shark was inching closer and closer to him. He was actually looking at stuff right next to these games when I walked over there, kind of just scooped them all up and walked away. So, I don't know, maybe I'm giving this shark too much credit. I don't know that he would have bought these or even knew what they were, but just because I've seen him, buy video game stuff before, snipe that DS for me, I've kind of had it out for him ever since. So, anyway, it ended up being 4 Sega Genesis games here. So I walked up, they weren't priced or anything. I walked up to the guy, I said, hey, how much were you looking to get on the games here? He said $2 a piece. I asked if he would do $5 for all 4 of them, and he said, sure, sold. So for $1 and some change a piece, we got the first one, Eternal Champions. A pretty common game on the Genesis, but it was complete. Of course, you gotta have your Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That one was also complete. I got a copy of Sonic Spinball. Complete, and it even has, I think, the poster in there as well. And then by far, my favorite one we got, probably my favorite find of the weekend actually, was a copy of General Chaos. I believe I already have this game, but I don't think mine has the manual or anything. I think it's just the cartridge in the box. And this one seems to have everything. Got a real thick manual, and there's probably like 100 different inserts in here. So I would assume this is very complete. I think this one's a little bit harder to find too. I think it goes for a little bit online. So very cool to get that one for, you know, essentially $1 and some change. But the best part of the deal was just sniping him right in front of that shark. Again, I might be giving him too much credit, but for the sake of the story, he was just about to pick these up when I walked in there and sniped him. So $5 for that stack there. And that was actually all we found on Friday. So, I mean, not a whole lot of stuff, but for the prices we paid for them, I can't really complain. I would consider that a good day. I can't speak for everybody at the garage sales, but for me, that's a pretty good day. That was worth getting up and going out. So moving on to Saturday now. Saturday had all sorts of weird stuff going on. Our first destination, I guess, for the day was a sale that it was actually just 2 blocks like up the street here. And they had been going crazy advertising on Facebook, like taking pictures of everything. They even had like the prices for stuff in their Facebook ads. And so I saw that they had a Wii system. It was actually the red Wii system. It had a stack of games that I couldn't really make out the titles on, and it had like the whole Wii Fit set up with the board and the game and everything. And they're asking $150 for the whole bundle. So it's kind of like one of those things. Like that's way I would never pay that for a Wii, but it was like, okay, well, it's only 2 blocks up the street. Like maybe they have a few games that they'll sell separately, whatever. So it was worth going. So we walked up there. Sure enough, the red Wii was sitting there with the Wii Fit and everything, and they did have a stack of games that there was a few decent titles in there. So I picked out like the 2 or 3 that I was interested in, and I brought them to the guy. Said, hey, you know, would you be interested in just selling me these 3 games? I've already got a system. And he was a little bit hesitant, especially after he saw the ones that I picked out. Obviously, the ones I picked out were, you know, the better ones, you know, and he kind of knew that. He was like, yeah, I don't know, man, those are kind of like the heavy hitters. I think, I don't know if I'll be able to sell the system without those, but I'll tell you what, I'll sell you one of them. So he was willing to sell me one of the games, and the one that I picked out was The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. In very nice shape. It was complete in here. Actually, doesn't even look like the manual's ever been taken out. It's got the Club Nintendo points, which I guess I can show now that they're pretty much useless. But I have the Symphony disc and the game disc in there. And so I asked him how much he'd sell it for. He told me $10. It's a little more than I would normally pay for a Wii game, but seeing as it was Zelda and he was kind of splitting it up from, you know, the rest of the bundle for me, I didn't feel I was in any place to haggle with him on that, so I went ahead and just paid the $10 for it. The 2 that I left there that I was interested in were a copy of Mario Kart Wii, which honestly, even if he would have offered me that one for $10, I probably would have passed on it. I just picked up the game for myself not too long ago. I found another copy at a different sale earlier this season. So, and then the other one was, I think, was the Super Mario Bros. Wii. It might have just been in like one of the cardboard sleeve ordeals. Probably came with the system actually, but I was happy with that for $10. And he did kind of hook me up. I did buy a graphing calculator at that sale too. He had it marked at 10, sold it to me for 5. So he did kind of hook me up after all, but. Not a bad start to the day. I'm glad that we decided to go to that sale. And so the next sale where we found stuff at was another sale where I'd kind of been in contact with the guy prior to the weekend, and he had actually sent me some pictures of some 360 games that he was going to be selling. I didn't know what he was asking as far as price goes or anything, but we pulled up to his sale. Like, it was one of those sales that was starting later. It was like a 10 or 10:30 sale, and we got there like probably right at 9 o'clock. So we're thinking there's no way they're going to be set up or whatever. So we just kind of parked the car. We were going to wait for like 5 minutes and see if we could, you know, if anyone came out of the house or whatever. And sure enough, a couple minutes later, a guy comes out of the house, puts a sign in the front yard. I hop out of the car quick and say, hey, you know, is your sale going on? Are you guys open here yet? And he's like, yeah, sure, come on in. The whole sale was actually inside of his house, so I'm glad that we'd been kind of waiting there, or we probably just would have drove by and not thought anything of it. But so we walked into his house. I asked for video games. He showed me where he had them all, and I ended up picking up 3 360 games here, all for $2 a piece. Pretty dirt cheap on these too. And they're decent titles as well. We got Skyrim, which I believe was very complete. It looks like it's got the manual and some kind of map in there as well. We got Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which also looks complete. Yep. And then finally we got Fallout 3 complete. So again, all those, you guys can see the $2 price tags on those there. I had no problem paying $2 for those. Didn't even try to haggle on those. He had a couple other PS2 games there as well. They were just cheaper titles. They were also priced at $2, so I passed on those. But couldn't complain with those 360 games. Decent titles for cheap prices. So now the last find of the day was kind of like a fluke. Like I said, Saturday had all sorts of things going on. our major lead for the day actually was courtesy of my cousin. I'd been hanging out with him the night before, and he told me that earlier in the day he had overheard a coworker of his talking about how she was having a garage sale, and she had a Wii and a bunch of games they were selling. So he kind of passed that info along to me, gave me the address and the info and stuff, and so we were going to go check that out. So there was another sale. That was another one that was like 10 or 15 minutes away. So on the way to that sale, we saw a sign for a different sale that we're like, oh, might as well stop at. It's right here. So we walk up there. I asked if they had any video game stuff, and they're like, yo, we got a Wii in the house that we were going to put out. And so they went into the house, came out with a bag, had a Wii in it, and it was actually the red Wii system. So to see two of them in one morning was kind of weird, I was confident that I was not going to be walking away with this. I'll explain that in a minute, but I'll show you guys what it came with first. There was the red Wii system there. It had both the matching controllers with the red Wii condom on there, both the power adapter and the AV cord here. Had the stand, the sensor bar, even actually the little plastic stand for the sensor bar, and one of these external Motion Plus adapters here, which I think the controller itself is already Motion Plus, so that was kind of just a bonus that was thrown in there. And then we got even all the manuals and everything is still in here. So pretty much everything except the original box is what it came with. And then it did have a stack of games here as well. Of course, you got to have your Wii Sports. If I remember correctly, I have one of these complete in box, and I think it came with Wii Sports as well. It came with that. It came with Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, which was missing a manual, but no big deal. And then it came with the copy of Super Mario Bros. Wii, or New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So I think originally, at least my set has this game in just one of the cardboard sleeves, as I had mentioned before in the video. So it looks like what they did is just put it in a regular case, and they threw the just like the external manual in the front of the case there. So I was so confident that I was not walking away with this, because when they brought out the system, I kind of asked how much they were looking to get, and the guy's like, yeah, well, I saw them going for like $60 to $80 on Amazon. And he's like, yeah, I know the red one's a little bit harder to find. So I told him straight up, I was like, you know, you sound like you're in the right ballpark there, but honestly, like, I don't think that I don't have enough money to offer you for that. I don't know if I'd be able to come anywhere near that. And he's like, well, make me an offer. So I told him $30. And like I said, I was sure he was just going to be like, you know, we're looking to get a little bit more. But he was like, how about 35? And they had one other game sitting there, and I couldn't help it. I was like, all right, I'll do 35 if you'll throw in the DS game. They had one DS game there, Indiana Jones: The Original Adventure. And he was like, sure, it's yours. So for $35, you know, to get the red Wii system, I thought was pretty cool. Even just seeing two of them on the same morning, I thought was pretty bizarre. And again, it's kind of surprising that I actually walked away with that. But for $35 with the games, hell yeah, that was a pretty sweet deal. So that was all we found for the weekend. We ended up going to that sale that was supposed to have the Wii and games, and they did not have a single video game there. So I don't know, we might have just been too late, or maybe they just didn't sell it at all. Maybe my cousin just totally misheard what she said. I don't know. But regardless, I wasn't going to complain, because we ended up with a Wii system after all. So anyway, I believe that will conclude the video. Again, not nearly as much stuff as our last garage sale video, but I was, you know, still a quality weekend. I was very happy with what we found. So I want to thank you guys for sticking around and checking out the entire video. And until next time, take care.